The Supreme Court's judgment yesterday, which quashed the RBI's February 12 circular, has come in as a bolt from the blue. The circular was aimed at early recognition and resolution of stressed assets, but what does its striking down mean for banks, companies, and the defaulting promoters? Let's do a three-point analysis. 1. What is RBI's February 12 circular? The RBI circular directed banks to identify stress in loan accounts immediately on default by classifying them as stressed assets under special mention accounts. Lenders were required to report special mention accounts to Central Repository of Information on large credits on all borrower entities having aggregate exposure of 5 crores and above on a monthly basis and all defaulting entities on a weekly basis. A resolution plan was to be implemented only if the borrower entity was no longer in default with any of the lenders. Now, for restructuring, the relevant documentation had to be completed by all lenders and the new capital structure had to get duly reflected in the books of all the lenders and the borrower. For large accounts, post-restructured debt will have to be credit rated. Now, for large accounts with aggregate exposure of over 2,000 crore rupees, if a resolution was not implemented within 180 days of the default day, lenders were required to file insolvency application under IBC within 15 days from the expiry of the said timeline. 2. Why was there a need for February 12 circular in the first place? Now, even in the face of mounting bad debts and assets, banks were initially reluctant to refer even defaults to IBC and were resorting to different types of restructuring that in most cases made little sense. The RBI 12th circular also had put definitive timeline by pushing defaulting cases to IBC. Section 29A under the IBC virtually closed the doors for defaulting promoters to gain access to their companies as well. 3. What is the way forward? Well, it is interesting to note that the Supreme Court has upheld all provisions of IBC including Section 29A, but it has quashed the February 12 circular. What this essentially means is that the banks have more time to restructure a loan. For a defaulting promoter, it perhaps gives more time to enter into a restructuring arrangement with the lender without an onerous timeline of 180 days. For companies that have been impacted by adverse macro developments, this could provide some respite. Many of the stressed companies may not find takers beyond the promoter. Now, the normal IBC route would have resulted in liquidation of many smaller firms, resulting in job losses. But whether the Supreme Court judgment provides a genuine breather to companies, defaulting promoters and the banks remains to be seen. The follow-up action from RBI, should it come out with fresh guidelines on resolution and restructuring outside of the IBC, would be keenly awaited.